Welcome everyone, this is Evelyn, and this is my twin flame read for today. The messages of the day don't have to be for twin flames, but the read on the table is for twin flames, and I have the Metatron read today as well, which is really for everybody. Yeah, I have to get through some of the astrological signs today too. I'll at least do Leo, Virgo, and most likely Libra. So we'll get to that afterward. I'm losing my voice a little bit. I was just meditating and the lion was coming up, is very prevalent. And the lion came up in a different way today as well. So the lion energy is definitely here. And let me show you first the read for today. Where are we here? Okay, so this is the Metatron read for today. Okay, so the underlying energy here, the bottom of the deck here is the wake-up call 11. The first card out here is the King of Swords. Is all about innocence and purity of the white. And I go across here, 12 cards, and then 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and there's a 19th card today, and then the addendum down here. Okay, just so you know the setup. And we're going to roll the die too. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths. For the twin flames, today is 414, so the 414 energy, the 4 of the Emperor, the 14 of the Temperance card, and we have, what is it, 1824 today, which is the Queen of Wands. And it was just at as I started the video, it went from 224 to 225, which is the Queen of Wands and the Knight of Wands, and the 2 of the High Priestess. For the twin flames today, 414, April 14th, 2022. All right, we have 6. So 6 of love, family, community, the lovers, also Gemini in June. And June was definitely coming up today. I just want to get the dice here. Okay. So we also have Sagittarius here. Just wanted to make sure it wasn't Mars. I get the 2 die confused. So Sagittarius there and Mercury here. So that's Gemini and Virgo, Sagittarius, which are all mutable signs, as well as Gemini over here. So all the mutable signs are there except for Pisces. And yeah. And then a lot of communication with Mercury. And June, since that's air as well. And Gemini. And also the 6 of day-to-day regular life, right? It's a very practical house. It's that Virgo house. And I was going through the signs in my read today too, right? So I was trying to figure out, so if Ophiuchus is before Sag and after Scorpio, how is it the 13th sign and how does that all work? Because it's really based on an old astrological system that starts with Aries, which would then make Ophiuchus the 9th sign and Pisces the 13th sign, which makes sense to me because that's actually the transcendence is Pisces. And maybe 9 was taken out because they didn't want us to have that infinite number 9, used. It's kind of interesting the way it came up. There's another pattern that came up in the numbers that I'm going to touch on regarding the different months of the year. But otherwise, let's just get right into the Metatron read, and then we'll do the twin flame read on the table. Again, they're both general reads. If you want something more specific, you can always check out my information below or my website, which is twinflames3344.com. And my CD out there also called Ashes, Twin Towers to Twin Flames by Evelyn Stainthorpe. And I just posted 3 songs on my YouTube site. If you want to check a few of the songs out, you can do that there. Okay, so this Metatron read. We have the Temperance card today as well as the Queen of Wands. So being patient, that could be a Sagittarius female, but also being patient with the Queen of Wands, perhaps in their passions. And also the 24 is Omega, which is an ending on, like for me, it's an ending on a community level as opposed to worldwide level, because 81 comes up as the worldwide number of the end of karma from the numerology deck, or in the numerology book rather, the Divine Triangle. All right, so the Metatron read was cut at 9:38 to 39, which is the Queen and Knight of Cups, and the 9 of the Hermit. The colors that came up here were green, white, blue, orange, pink. Let's see here. Yeah, green, white, blue, orange, yep, and pink. So we have orange as far as the lower chakra layers, which is the creation area, which kind of makes sense when you're dealing with the lower chakras. You know, you want to focus on the orange of creation. We have the blue of the throat chakra, the green of the heart, and the pink of compassion. Of course, the white, which is the rainbow, so it encompasses all the colors, but it's also going above the crown into Akashic records. As far as elements came up today, we have earth and air. All right, so the underlying energy, the bottom of the deck was the wake-up call I showed you, the 11 of alignment, justice, and the first card out was the white card, which is the King of Swords of purity and innocence, or the purification, which is very Virgo energy. And then we have the alignment of Libra energy. Again, those two signs are the middle of the astrological chart. It's like the juncture between them is like midway through the chart. So it's like the middle. And then we have at 1020, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the 20 of Judgment, we have the Knight of Wands and the underlying energy as the passion for life, the Knight of Cups as the healing heart, and justice for all in a wake-up call to align with the 1111 energy here. And again, the 4-4 to 5-5 energy was coming up of 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, and 1 hour. But that also can be seen as 1 month from 4-4 to 5-5, 1 month, 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute. And what came up in regards to the pattern of the months during the year is that you notice that January, February, March have a number that reflects on the other numbers. So we have January, which is 1, and then 10, which reflects it exactly. And the same as 2 and 20 and 3 and 30, but after 3 and 30, right, you don't have 4 and 40, so you don't have a number that reflects. And those are the gates we normally focus on, right? The 4, 4, 5, 5, 6, 6, 7, 7, 8, 8, and 9, 9. Because then we go back to the 10, the October, which has a number that reflects itself, 01. And the only numbers that reflect each other exactly are 10, 1, 11, 11, and then January 10th. Because all the other numbers like 220, 22, and 2 aren't reflecting each other exactly because it's the same number. If it were 0250 or 0520, that actually does reflect each other. May 20th reflects itself exactly. So you see what I mean. So the only months that have reflecting numbers are January, February, March, and then October, November, December. So the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups come into alignment here in the underlying energies, releasing extra energy, healing the emerald green heart, together in the clarion call home, which is that clear connection. It's time for dinner, and the Garden of Gethsemane coming up here for Easter. The first card out was the King of Swords with the white wings and the diamond light, the purity and innocence reflecting compassion of self-love, spiritual love, and new love, as above, so below. As all the pink trees start to blossom and the fields start to warm in the mother's loving arms of Earth, Terra, Gaia. As the hearts of emerald and diamonds and shells, here reflecting the cubits, the hexahedrons as well. In the 18 of the full moon coming up here on the 16th, which is also the 18 of the purple moon, where the moon touches the sky, it becomes purple, that purple ring around the moon, and thus the 0-point field. The solitary tree out on the plain, sinking in a gentle pool of water into wine. So now the Garden of Gethsemane is coming up here again, right? Always thought that I would be an apostle, right? Sinking in a gentle pool of wine. Don't disturb me now, I can see the answer till this evening is this morning, life is fine. And then he goes into the end is just a little harder when brought about by friends. And here the apostles are all singing, you know, always wish that I'd be an apostle, knew that I would make it if I tried. Then when we retire, we can write the gospel so they'll still talk about us when we've died. So again, wanting to leave a legacy. So I looked up, and Spirit's connecting with me major right now. I looked up apostle, and TLE literally means beautiful. And APOS, A-P-O-S, means different things because there's different APOS words, some with accents and some without. But overall, it was coming up as, and by the way, OS, that suffix means joint, right? Or the joining together, the change, but also the will to join together, the will to have that soft spot, right? Because the joint is the weak spot. And the weak link came up in the read today as well. So, there's a lot of definitions regarding the APOS words, so I'm not going to go over all of them. But it does come up as the apostle at 1055, which is the wheel and the 55 of the truth. An Excalibur, and notice Excalibur is the X's caliber, or the power of its bullet, perhaps, right? At 1055, the apostles, and the beautiful, this is the definition of apostle, literally, the beautiful string of water, the background that shapes things to come, the water that cradles you in the ocean or lake, the beauty of being the electromagnetic field tied together without wire, right? Doing it without physical connection, like cordless, supported by the Y in the road, that 0 point field of bliss. And again, the Y is coming up as the support of something very vulgar. And that phrase will come up in a second. But again, supported by the Y in the road, the 0 point of bliss, not vulgarity, but divine bliss, that a yoke around necks can be a bond or it can be oppression. It depends on your perspective. The annex, or pre-existing file, or in other words, that the future of your annex is actually just a wing that holds the past, right? So the future that is the past, a string of being against or belonging. And then ice cream was coming up, which is the same initials as the inner child, the IC, which is the same as informed consent. The inner child, informed consent, which also is to trust, to eat and be, and also the bumblebee came up here. The monkey, the father, being dumb or the idiot, perhaps bad smelling or tongue-tied. The chaff layer as opposed to the wheat, right? The hard layer that you don't want, that you're trying to get rid of. The servant or the slave, or the spiritual being. You see how there's extremes here coming together. The ancestral spirits that take oaths, but also at the same time clown around and joke. Those who grope, steal, and waste, who pilfer, who squander, perhaps an older sister here. The 4 of the emperor, but also stability and survival. A wing that takes your breath away, or in other words, the wind beneath your wing, is a sign or a scar, a part or a volume, a direction or side, the arm of the talking drum, the ba-bum, ba-bum, of the African mahogany tree. And then Diana Ross was coming up in mahogany. And the ringworm, or the worms within the tree, right? The rings within the tree. And so, and the ancestral spirits were coming up here at 1105, which is alignment of freedom. So again, the apostle, the beauty in all of this. And always thinking that I'd be an apostle. And then with the TLE being beautiful, little came up. And so the TLE is beauty and then lit. So the beauty of being lit, right? The little one. And also metal is the beauty of being met. So perhaps someone meddling may be a beautiful thing. It just has to do with your perspective. The apostles and the queen of 11 cubits, quarters in the pyramid. The chambers may be the place of the 4 corners of the world, and the echoes of that superposition of the cubit with a Q of 2 states, you and your echo resonating within the 4 walls of the queen's chamber. The mountains talking to Mohammed, which is something I literally experienced when I was in the south of France, when we went up. And Archangel Michael was definitely there that day following us up the mountain. And that was the mountain with the Isis chairs. And we did some different ceremonies, but we were literally singing together And I realized the mountain was singing with me, but nobody else heard the mountain. It was amazing. But again, as you all well know, where there's places on the mountain you can stand and hear your echo all around. You and your echo resonating. The mountains talking to Muhammad. The hills are alive with the sound of music, where music is the muse of the inner child, the informed consent. The ice cream, you scream, we all scream. And why not? It's fun. But let's keep the screaming room and the quiet rooms separate. And this was at 11:14 of justice and the higher love. You see how separation here works. Like there's a need for it, right? Because you can't scream and be quiet at the same time. Or can you be quiet and scream at the same time? Well, this is called bliss of the super consciousness. Big Bird is the capital B of the 13. Big is 13 IG and bird is 13 IRD. Or the transition to I being that part of God, I being the road, the path, the journey, the research and development. And the Serengeti was coming up here, which is Tanzania and Kenya, and the ecosystem hosting the largest and longest overland semi-annual migration of herd animals in the world. The Tasmanian devil, the twister, the spinster, the whirlwind, the quickly picking up the pieces and redistributing in a natural way that may seem disorganized or chaotic at the time, but then in hindsight, fully understood. Where Kenya breaks down to Ken and Ya, Kenya is very strong. I knew a Kenya actually who used to take care of my mom in the Alzheimer's facility, and she was very strong. She's not someone who would cry, though. She probably needed to cry. And then we have Tanzania here. So the Ken was coming up, and I actually have my brother's, one of his best friends' name is Ken, and I actually used to babysit for him when he was little. So it was funny because I reached out to him about the definition here, because Ken literally means youth or children's group, which is exactly what my friend Ken does. But it also means, like, it's all encompassing, because it's not only to conceive, but to give birth and sustain, to understand and have sight and knowledge. It's the house and the den of thieves, but it's also that youth's children's group. The food and recognition, the laugh and the smiling, and the kin. To come, skirt, smear, and also honor the children here. So there's a little bit of both sides of the coin, but mostly really positive there. And then, of course, yeah, so yeah, yeah, this beautiful energy of being everything all in one. And then in Tanzania was coming up as Tanz, which means to dance, and Ania means to intend. So intending to dance with Tanzania and Kenya, the strong one, yeah, to be able to allow. And the wheel is here too for Ken. So literally to intend to dance with Tanzania and Kenya, who can do it all, and then coming up with 1134, which is the alignment of the energetic exchange between the masculine and the feminine, and Big Bird as the Queen of Swords, and the pure bird of innocence and purity of the King of Swords. The one with the white wing is the King of Swords with the diamond, and the two golden wings with the rainbow center at all angles, or three specifically, reflecting each other, is the feminine Queen of Swords here. When you put those two together, the rainbow triangle and the diamond on top, it literally is the X of coming together. It's just the flyer has a little bit of a landing surface there on an angle with the diamond top. But it comes up as the base in the flyer, the healer and the impassioned, the wind beneath their wing, and the gravity that keeps them grounded in the breath that is ether, either or ether or at the core. The Knight of Wands is the King of Swords here, purifying and reflecting the earth while flying above and reflecting in the Queen's chambers. He's coming up as the red and white colors, which is the pink of compassionate reflection. The Knight of Cups is coming up as the Queen of Swords here, healing and unifying, to find the auric key. Remember, auric is the AU of gold, and the aura, Ra, is ray. The gold ray, reflecting in the purple moon, which is the royal colors of gold and purple. The green and gold, which is also nature here. right? The royalty of nature here on path, or the gold ray that's key to weave the arcs and highways, or the high road, the drawbridges to the castle and the steeples, the rockets and the castles in a cloud, the constellations and the planets and the stars. The road to the sun portal, where all roads lead home, which is really cool because in this card, where it shows the sun shining through the keyhole of the different castle openings and portals and the roadway, you know, the overpass over, it shows you, you know, streaming through to the sun, which is exactly what my flame is doing. It's streaming through that hole to the violet light. So the road to the sun portal, where all roads lead home, which then lead is also lead, and lead is used to block radiation, but to radiate is magnificent. The castle steeple to the sun equals my flame, you see in front of you as that number 1, the flame, with the hole to the violet light. So then this brings up the vulgarity, right? So there was a term that I wasn't familiar with that they used in a definition of one of the words today, and it's the term glory hole, which has some very technical uses in industry, but it also references the penis hole in the wall for someone to jerk off, okay? So for me, you know, that's very offensive. Not that, you know, I'm extreme to one way or the other, but it's not something I like to hear about, because the glory hole here was coming up as what I was just showing you, which is the path to the sun, which is divine. It's not a vulgarity. And the portal to the light supported by the Y in the road, which also can be seen as a vulgarity, right? Where someone puts their fingers apart and sticks their tongue through it. It's something very vulgar, where the Y in the road is actually the 0 point of bliss and coming together in a very divine place. In the road, the 0 point, home field advantage, and then AD was coming up as the advantage of after death, which is just the transition to the other side. The 0 point, the time of Christ or unity consciousness, right? Because our time starts with Christ at 0. Plus or minus 7, give or take, the 49ers of 7 by 7, and the gold miners, and Levi tribe or house. And from the site, thewomanofnoblecharacter.com, what did I put in here? I guess I put Levi in real quick to see what came up. And the word joined came up. So I just told you about joined and joint. They came up with the OS, the OS, which is operating system. Levi literally means joined. And in Genesis 29:34, where Leah and Jacob came together, she felt joined with God, with Jacob, when she had 3 sons. Okay, so the 3rd son was Levi, of the 12 sons of Jacob, and then the grandfather of Aaron and Moses. And it was the only tribe that did not worship that golden calf, right? And devoted, so they got special treatment. They didn't have to do the hard labor. They ended up, you know, devoting their time to spiritual pursuits. So the joining is coming together here with the apostles and the apos and the beauty of the apos, the jointing or the anointing, the coming together over bread, the watery string, the man giving, the leader, the Lord, the annex, the slave, the spiritual being, the clarion call or that clear connection, the call home to the dodeca cosmos star, the crystal wake-up call to do your homework in the Akashic records. The Akash is aka shh in the library. To record, to reattach your cord, to maintain your cord, to wake up in the quiet in the morning and then record each morning with the sun and source, you know, go get some sun in your eyes, bringing the lightness to the dark, the sun that is within, and being reminded who you are by the sun. Of course, you know, don't blind yourself. So the chaos of random explosiveness here is coming up, and then getting scared because of the chaos, and then the need to go to the extreme opposite, which is controlling into reclusiveness. The children on the playground screaming and laughing and playing, and then the children go inside for quiet time to reflect instead and rest after, you know, playing outside, having their play time and their quiet time. Let the children be your teachers, For Source is the pure, innocent child. They have no ulterior motive or intention, just pure love without the human need to quote unquote grow up. That's human, that's not of God. It's basically coming up as why not just naturally blossom instead of what humans think of as growing up, right? Because that has to do with other people's rules. The mother holds space when you are blue. She is present, but she's also with gifts. She likes to be held too. One who holds likes to be held. One who creates likes to be manipulated or shaped or played with. The Queen of Wands is called to stretch and lunge here again to release that excess energy, to connect and attune, release your energy stores to the records or the recording, to help record or maintain your cord with your twin. Reconnect with self and source. Just the three of you. You can make it if you try. Just the three of you. Two and I. So it's coming up as the I am and the two of the superposition of the two states of consciousness. And that was at 12:20, the Hanging Man and the Judgment or wake-up call. And then the next page, we start at the 2021. And the card of authentic self and the 46 of the children in the garden loving each other. Who are you? And the are you, of course, you know, is Russia. The are you of the Russia or rushing. And are you K? Are you okay? Or one less than. The K is the one less than the whole. Or you are, which means Yuri. URI, which is Switzerland, which is neutral territory, right? The Yuri of the edge, the brim, the water, the light, and the neutral zone here. That you are the key. You are the portal. Your DNA is the key to puddle jumping. The Six of Cups and the Rainbow Bridge and Sesame Street. Or the path of seeing the same way, Sesame. And the innocence here of Sandalphon, who's with you now on the Fool's Journey. And remember Sandalphon, I always call Saint Dolphin, is that Lyran energy here, but also the sand, which I brought up the definition of sand before, in the tan color that all humans are, some variation of that beige color, right? And then there was lots of other energies around sand. They were just all about the different kinds of humans. And the Saint Dolphin, and then the Mu of Lemuria, but also the definitions of Mu. And I love the symbol of the Phoenician Mu is literally a W, where the second part of the W becomes a lowercase y. So it looks like this. It looks like 77, except a watery 77. That's the Mu in Phoenician. So it looks like a lowercase y, but drawn in the uppercase, like a 7, but it's actually a WY. And that actually means water as well. That's why it looks like water. The Japanese definition of Mu is neither yes or no. So again, it's being neutral territory in the middle. In Buddhism, it means no existence. But again, it was saying not yes and not no, the nothingness. And then in Mandarin, it means 66 2/3 meters squared, which 2/3 is 66. So it's literally 666 infinitely here, which is all about the spiraling of the flowers spiraling together. It also means the buttock, the cow, the ox, and the bull, the crocodile, we, you, 2+, and also the I am presence. Old mule, and to happen, concerning, approval, approximately, or then again the neutral zone, staying in the neutral zone, approximating instead of exacting. Delicious and pubic area was coming up here with delicious as well, and then shells of some animals. So again, that outer shell, which we normally take off to get rid of when we separate the wheat from the chaff. And then extremely ripe, or to drink, suck, lick, smoke, take, catch, have an effect on, cause, be sharp, to be hidden, or bring, or see, ultimately. So these are all definitions for Mu, which is Lemuria. So then the ox and the bull came up, right, what the difference between the bull and the ox is. And the ox is actually stronger, and it comes up as more as the feminine energy, right? Because ox can be both male and female, like the feminine. But the bull can only be male because they're used for breeding. and they're more dangerous because they're not socialized and they're not castrated. So the bull is just the masculine for breeding, and they can have a temper on them. That's the masculine energy. The feminine energy is the ox, or the kisses and hugs. They're more social and friendlier, and they're used to being yoked or tied together at the neck. So at 12:38, which is the Hanging Man and the Queen of Cups, the Lyrans were coming up as the dolphins, and Sandy, which is saint, and the Atlanteans, or the Dannies, right? Sandy and Danny, and the Dannies are the Dans, or the Dons. The ox and the bulls. Together they make greased lightning, the greasy wheel, or it's all Greek to me. Dumbing it down to spark it up. Angels and demons, and faithful and know-it-all. Love and wisdom. L for love, W for wisdom, and there's that W again that connects to the Y for the Phoenician of Mu. But L and W, like the and, like you can use the N for the symbol and, LNW or LW. So LW is the right angle and two U's. And LW doesn't come up as a word, but LWA does, which means God, spirit. But it also means fight and struggle. It also means tear and the law. So again, the polarities there coming up. And then Lewy bodies came up for me as well. And that has to do with a relation of the grandfather that I never knew. So he did a lot of research on the Lewy bodies and Parkinson's. And so Lewy was coming up. And the LWY, or L and W, came up as the letter, like L and W, but LNW, but also it only came up with a Y. So LNWY, which means laneway. And the Lewy body, the LEWE, well, actually, Lewy body is spelled LEWY, but the LEWE was coming up as life, fresh, and there's the lion coming up here as well, and the leaf. The Lewy with a Y is the L of the left being illegal. The right angle is being illegal, counterfeit, authority, or drunkenness, the trick, bending, contorting, the atmosphere of heaven, sky, air, and place. So again, there's different perspective here. One may be negative and one may be positive. The Lewy body is an abnormal aggregate of protein that develops inside nerve cells, and that was termed by the German Jew American neurologist Frederick Lewy, and he was alive 1885 to 1950. So then these signs from Spirit with Love come up as the birds sign and sing the bluebirds of happiness to you. The mother here is coming up as playing with God, the child God, and then takes care of and births the child. The father, however, plays with the child and births growing up to maturity, responsibility to love and take care of the child. So there's Thanksgiving every day here with choices and synchronicities, the rainbow connection, the lovers, the dreamers, and me. Fly free in transition with two hats or two roofs. You may be wearing two hats or have two houses perhaps, but receiving the light through your cry and your crystalline bird body. The Knight of Swords, and that can be the feminine part of yourself as well. The Knight of Swords catapult, the messenger of truth, the knight in shining armor. Their codependency is their freedom of merging the polarity to the middle, where codependency thus is freedom as you bring them together. The Page of Wands is inspired to self-love and nurture that inner child, the shell, with phased array radiating out in 98 degrees of direction within the womb to upright connection in the life bulb of the womb. And life bulb comes up as the L of the right angle, the I of the I am. The FE means an example of and irony, and the bulb of BU, the binary logarithm, or the word and the rhythm to the base of 2, or in other words, poetic justice, the life bulb. Bridging on the fool's journey to emotional fulfillment with arcs and angels and the little birdie who told me, Sandy and Danny. Sandy lying down side by side or close to each other, again on the beach. Sand is coming up as the hourglass of the feminine, and the dan or dan to get her into shape. At 110, which is the magician and the 10 of the Wheel of Fortune, the journey from the orangutan of the orange to the Christ of the gold. The orangutan literally means forest man or veggie man, but it's that orange color of going from the lower chakra rays to the gold, purifying to the golden aura, the gold ray, the clearing of the rust out of the system, so to speak, through the chakra system, or the shocking of the rays system, being shocked. Or in other words, revving of the engines. And by the way, that picture I posted a couple times already from the pictures of my mirror with the steam on it, where one I posted is literally the shaman going into the tree of life, but the same picture is also 2 horses bridled. And so the new title of that picture is Mr. and Mrs. Ed, or Extra Dimensionals, and the shaman enters the tree of life. So it's literally the ETs and the humans coming together in the tree of life. So it's a really profound picture. I love that picture. I might actually have it framed. I think it's a beautiful piece of artwork. So, yeah, so revving your engines. Oh, sorry, I just keep pulling on my my cording here. Oh, they're reminding about my cord, my attachment to my twin. It's pretty funny. Because I just pulled away, right? You can't pull away from your twin. At 112 is the magician and the 12 of the hanging man, conquering fears of your dreams by healing the nightmare. Good night, Mary. Or the mare, which is the donkey horse. The donkey, right, horse, who's a night owl. The dawn with a key, and the whore with the sea of emotions, the sight of devotion, and the letter C of the whispering bench with the magic potion, which potion is the pot connection, but it's not what you think. For a mother, magic here is the mother in the gastrointestinal challenge here. And the pot is actually the vessel to hold the connection, right? The mother has a vessel to hold the connection, the birthing. The ante in the middle of, like the pot, right, of when you're gambling. The ante in the middle, or the promise, the dowry, that I am able to kiss, sweat, and hit the jackpot, or hit the potty, or open the crown, and find your way, your road, your port. These were all the definitions that came up here with the pot, P-O-T, at 121, which is the magician and the 21 of the world. At 122, and then going on with the Fool's Journey, for dreams to come true of love, relationship, and harmony here. The aqua rose gold heart, the water in a stream, like the string, the string of pearls, the card from the Journey of Love, of the pearl threaded. It's that same energy, but instead of the thread through the pearls, it's the water of the stream, of the gold rays, 2 gold rays in a spiral headed home, weaving in and out of each other. The salt water and the fresh water where Mary Magdalene did baptisms, and that's where I went in the south of France for my trip. The salt and the fresh water streams that come together, weaving with each other, salty and fresh, with a little spice to the pot in the basin, the delta faucet, 2 as 1 triangle into infinite oneness, flowing in spirits connecting with me, flowing in the sine waves. And did you ever notice that the Queen's wave is a sine wave? They do that on purpose, right? They're harnessing the energy of the sine wave, spreading the logarithm of 2 in a superposition of poetic justice, or the poet. And this is all about poetic justice. The poet, inner child, the Jew, the saint, and the ice. Perhaps the other inner child is still a little icy still. Needing the springtime to warm and cozy up, to Spoon and June for July birth, the jewel of the Y in the road, with August and the gold gust of the Golden Gate, the 8-8, and Valentine's Gate 8-4, and that energy of By the way, in 2023, Valentine's is August 22, which is the end of Leo going into Virgo, right? But it's also right there, the 8-8 of the Sirius alignment. I was getting 8-8 to 9-9. So again, the 11 months there of 8-8 to 9-9, 2023, because the Lion's Gate, actually they were quoting after Lion's Gate, is that portal that comes every 20 years where something truly significant happens. So again, it was like the 40, the connection with ETs, the 43, the 63, the 83, the 2003, and then the 223. So 23 is supposed to be a really significant alignment with Sirius. And they quote the time period not as 8-8 specifically, but like around 8-10 to 8-14, which is also, it's just that period. So again, there's very specific energies. I always get the energy of 8-8 to 9-9 as graduation period, which is kind of time off where you totally disconnect from your connections, right? To just be a human for a minute. But we're also getting 8-8 through 9-9, which is that 11 months, or excuse me, 1 year, 1 month, 1 day, 1 hour type of energy again. And then the months of after 9-9, right, 8-8 to 9-9, we go into those months that reflect each other, the 10-01, the 11-11, the 12-21 of Saggy. And then in the old astrology, which people are using as a new astrology, with Ophiuchus incorporated in there, Scorpio is only 1 week during Thanksgiving. It's November 23rd to the 29th. And then Ophiuchus is the 29th or 30th to the 17th of December. And then Sagittarius doesn't start till the 17th, and it goes into January. So here is where, and the only things that match in the two calendars that I looked up, because people will have different calendars regarding this new calendar, which is actually the old calendar. So I compared the one I found online with the one from the book for the Mary Magdalene book that I've been showing you. And the only things that coincide with each other as far as the exact dates are those dates for I think it was Scorpio, Ophiuchus, and Libra. And then we go into reflecting again after December with the January 01-10. But again, there's something about that new astrological chart. I don't know if we're going to be following that more and more as the time goes on. So the journey to the stars through the high heart here of compassionate love, and the Om, which is home, the A-U-M, and then space, that there's a fourth space right there, with the symbol of Om, which looks like the 30 of union with the crown of the ark and the diamond on top, like a crown, and the union with gold and diamond crown, the twin mountains, of the M here, right? So Om is A-U-M and A-U is gold. And then we have the M of the twin mountains and the creation, right? The valley, the creation of the V between them, which then co-creation comes up here. And creation is literally pray, eat, love, right? CR means 10 million, which is like, and it's 7 zeros with 1, which is like the illumination, right? Of the crown blowing open, of final illumination. And that, that's coming up as the pray. And then literally in creation is eat, and ion, which is connection, which is love. So it's literally pray, eat, love, creation. And then the co of partners, right? Partnering and co-creation of praying, eating, and loving. The Mohammed becomes the mountain, right? So they're not separate, they come to the middle, allowing all these waves of love to come up upon them as the pillar becomes the mountain, and allowing love to come to them, causing them to glow and shine their light up as the lighthouse. And they're shining their light upward so that their relatives can see them from down below on the 3D atlas. The beacon, which is be Akan. Akan is lighter, to be the lighter and lighter. The message in the bottle or shell that you are about to pop a cork, where the land meets the sea, meets the sky, meets the I am. Communicate, speak, and be heard. to free the ox and bulls, the seagulls and eagles at sea on the whispering bench of the wind beneath your wings at 2 o'clock with double zeros backing up the 2 of the high priestess. And then 202 of the 2 2s with the space between of the underlying energy of the Knight of Wands and the Knight of Cups with a passion for healing and waking people up. The first column of the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords in their cosmic calling to wake the collective and hold space, be present with gifts, and meditate and guide one step at a time. At 204, the High Priestess and the Emperor of the Lion and reflecting willows on the journey to the sun via Akash and the stretching to release the stuck energy with love from high aqua rose gold heart. And then the third column of the Mother Earth Terra Gaia, which are being referenced here as the Queen's Chambers, the hexahedron of the 6, which is the Earth based on the 6 faces of flowers and such, in the purple moon of the 18, which is 6 times 3, the 3 6s, and then to infinitum of the 3 6 9, which 3 6 and 9 add up to 18 as well. The High Priestess in the purple moon at 208, the High Priestess and the strength of Leo and the dance, which the High Priestess is Pisces. So Pisces going to Leo and collecting the chaos of the sunlight to transmute that energy for the collective, for the authentic inner children in the void at Om. You had me at Om, which is home, where the heart is your home. So there is your read for Metatron. Let's go into the read on the table now, which is more of a general 3D type of energy read here. So it's not focused on 3D, but you're in 3D, 4D, 5D energies. So you're going to get a mixture of all of those different energies coming up in this read. So you need to be able to discern what's for you and what's not. Okay. So this read is the SIRIAN Starseed deck. This is the basic read. Okay. And then the full read here with the 7 decks is here. So it's a lot of energy. It is for the collective because there's a lot of you out there. For the twin flames, masculines and feminines. Okay, and by the way, the weather yesterday and today is like picture perfect. It's beautiful. So this read in front of you is at 6:52. I cut the deck, which is the Lovers and the Queen of Swords. So she's coming up again. And it's also the 6 of Love, Family, and Community, and the month of June. And then 743 came up, which is the 43 is written that way, 43/7, which is the 3 of Cups coming together, and then the 7 of the Chariot, which is the feminine within the masculine ascending. And ascending doesn't mean going anywhere. It means your vibration is rising. It's getting lighter. And then GHT of Chalices was coming up. And just Chalices as well, which has to do with emotions and heart and icing here. Dancing at the right angle with ice, perhaps, to cool off. I actually was tempted to put the air conditioning on today for the first time. I just want to look up something really quick here. Yeah. So GHT came up of Chalices, but there is no specific word that's GHT. But there is a word GH-T-J, which is related to covering and giving, which sounds like a very Jesus thing to do, right? So GHT of J, and T for me is time out, to toggle up. And also TI is source, so TJ is Jesus source, right? It's the Son of God. So that's interesting the way that's coming up. So again, the covering and giving of heart and emotions, and focusing on those heart and emotions, the dancing of the icing here, and the S of Sophia at 744, which is the Chariot again, and then grounding, integrating, and mastering, receiving of love, allowing yourself to be loved. So I finished clarifying at 7:59, which is the 7 of the Chariot and the 59 of the 11th hour before 60, but also the 59 of the 5 of Swords, which is the war within, which becomes the war without. The major arcana here were the Starseed. Okay, the Starseed and the Shadow, that is the Devil. Starseed is the Fool. And then Karma, which is Judgment. Those are the three major arcana in the read. Before the read is the Hanging Man and Justice. And then we had 4 Pentacles, 1 Wand, 2 Cups, and 1 Sword. So 41, 21 came up here. 41 is the Ace of Cups, 21 is the World. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, Knight of Wands, and the Page of Cups in the read. Before the read, the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Cups. After the read, the Page of Wands. And we had triple 8s in this read, which for me is the knocking into union. You have the 2 8s dancing side by side. Both have perfected dancing between their masculine and feminine and learning how to go between the 3D and 5D and above. And then the third 8 comes in to knock the 2 over to become the infinity symbol, on its side. We also had double 1s of justice and alignment, truth and balance, and the 44 of learning how to receive love, which very much that's that higher love of receiving the 11 and the 44, which are 2 14s, which are 2 angels of a higher love, and the triple 8s of coming together in union. We have the 14 of the Temperance card, the 48 of the walking away and within with the 8 of Cups, the 13 of transition, the 34 of the energetic exchange, the arrows of love between the twins, the 46 of the 6 of Cups, the 67 of the Knight of Pentacles, and the 78 of the 10 of Pentacles, which is that ultimate dream family of heaven on earth. The code line here is all about, I didn't write the numbers down here, 71. 71 is the co-creation. It's the 3 of Pentacles card for me is co-creation. So that's coming up as very significant here. And the 7 and 1 reduces to an 8, which is strength, that inner and outer strength, the dance between the masculine and feminine, and the manifestation of dreams with co-creation. And we had healing and leadership that came up on the code line. And healing was broken up into healing and G, and leaders and hip. So it's coming up as the healing leaders, but also God who is hip. And this also could be someone who's healing their hip, okay? So the messages that came up here, also the one disease that came up in the definitions was AHD, which is alveolar hydatid disease. So that someone might be dealing with this, or maybe they don't know what it is, and that may be what it is. Maybe that's why it's coming up. To let you know. It has to do with the lungs. I'm not familiar with it though. And the messages were coming up as this. Tight, cramped, perhaps at work or at a place of co-creation, which can be school or the church, wherever you co-create. To see the key of the Knight of Wands and their passion and love for life. To see the key of the ownership or the bridging to the healing of the leader's hip, or the seeing that God is hip. It doesn't have to be someone who's punishing you or making you sacrifice. The visible desires at the divine feminine in the masculine, the 7 of the Chariot. And the acing of seeing the key or seeking the E of energy or the feminine in the E tower, the Knight of Wands or the after-death test here, and seeing the key bridge of the he, right? Because not only is the feminine within the masculine in the Chariot, but he is in the she, right? She has he in it. Or the key to the E of energy exchange, or the feminine in the E tower, coming out of the E tower. That's Rapunzel or Eve. The healing leader's hip, or that God is hip. And then the grandmother without an eye, perhaps. So perhaps this be a grandmother who's losing their eyesight, or perhaps lost an eye. Or arriving without your I am presence. Or this could be sitting, that the grandmothers need to sit down. Or someone could be sitting with someone for their SATs, their SATs, whether they're LSATs or regular SATs. Or raising the heavens above, but without human. It's like the grandmother saying it's impossible to raise the heavens without being human. Or to raise the heavens is not to be human, right? The old way of thinking. Or there could be an aid here, which is funny because I brought up my mother's aid in this read. There could be an aid or someone helping with SATs or with SATs. This can be oxygen saturation. or AIDS at the workplace, or this could be dealing with someone with AIDS as well. The Chariot and the Magician seeing the key or seeking the energy for that Knight of Wands, and then the Knight of Wands seeking the energy to bridge he or own he. Maybe owning the masculine side of himself. Maybe he's more into his feminine side and he needs to own his masculine. And then again, that God is hip, or healing a leader's hip here. So somebody could be literally healing someone's hip. My brother just had hip surgery. So sitting on a hillside or embankment here at the workplace or in a car alone, seeing the key of the Knight, which can be the Knight in shining armor or the Knight as in night and day, of the flames or the drama. I seeing the key of the E being icy or ice at the Y in the road, in healing a leadership position here, or seeing why someone had to be icy in order to maintain their leadership position, or to maintain all the drama that they have to deal with. And the Knight of Flames, the Knight of Drama, that Tower moment there. So this read starts out in the underlying energies with the Seven of Pentacles on top, and for me, this Seven of Pentacles in this deck is the Divine Feminine's heart. It's literally Rapunzel in the E-Tower with the masculine sitting outside on the front lawn. And it reminds me so much of this church that's not far from my house. A bell tower type of energy, which is really beautiful, actually. But that's the Divine Feminine's heart in the E-Tower there on top. I'm just getting a little hook. This was just, I don't usually use this, but it's a bookmarker, but it's just coming up, that J is coming up here. So for some reason I have to show you the shape. Okay. That might mean something to you. And it is the J as well. And I'm getting the curve as well, right? Because everything is curved, it's not straight. But the first card on the top there is the Divine Feminine's heart, and below it is the Knight of Swords, the Hanging Man reversed, Justice upright, the Queen of Cups upright, and the Three of Swords reversed. So after the Knight of Swords is awake to sunshine of the Queen of Cups upright and their healing heart, and this could be the Knight of Swords referring to the Queen of Cups as their sunshine, or this could be vacation or kids or exposing all of the Queen of Cups and their healing heart, the Divine Feminine's heart opening up to come out of the E-Tower here. With Sovereign upright and the Empress reversed, the Queen of Cups is upright, dropping the act perhaps, or just focusing on breaking patterns, focusing on the heart, but not power or money, as the Queen of Cups perhaps could be healing their mother and daughter at the same time, or perhaps being independent without a mother. There's three feminine energies, like three generations of feminines coming up here. The Sovereign, which could be a younger person, or any age really, and then the Empress reversed is next to her, and then the Queen of Cups above. And she's the one working on, focusing on the heart and breaking patterns, dropping the act, right? Perhaps tripping up, but it's okay, like not getting freaked out if they trip up or mess up. And we start this read on the next page with at 9/11, which actually had come up earlier as well. So again, with emergency energies, and what I didn't realize at the time this was 9/11 when I wrote that, was that the movie I was going to watch was going to be the movie all about 9/11, right? The call center for 9/11. I forget what the name is. But so emergency definitely coming up, and the different traumas that come up with the emergency calls, and how not only the trauma of the emergency calls, but the people in the call center, how traumatized they get not being able to rescue these people themselves, because a lot of them end up not, being rescued. Or just the trauma of not knowing what happened to them in the end, right after they worked their way through the whole situation with these people. It's very traumatic. So 9:15 comes up here with the Hermit and the Devil, right? The hermiting and dealing with that devil right within, of not knowing what happened or feeling like it was your fault that someone didn't get rescued. A lot of those energies were coming up in that movie. Or the Divine Feminine coming out, sovereign, without a mother, and the Queen of Cups focusing on healing herself and breaking patterns. The Sovereign and disconnect, or at a distance, or just dead tired, or needing to end going in circles. After Justice, or Libra lover, or Libra and Gemini here, implementing a plan to invest in Sovereign or their own sovereignty, in disconnect or distancing themselves or selves from the never-ending downturn, not wanting to continue with this never-ending downturn and perhaps doing something more lucrative or something that resonates with you more. Or with Scorpio and Libra both reversed here, to be happy with self despite the wounded warrior or the victim mentality, and the Empress reversed, who can be playing the victim, released from prison. So this can be someone who just got out of prison, a feminine, or a release from any kind of prison they deemed prison, or their own anxieties about a choice of path or the twin flames. Perhaps displaying an upside down heart and blanketing green, which is funny because the upside down heart came up in my sun pics yesterday along with the right side up heart. But displaying an upside down heart and blanketing green, as green leaves may be on the ground due to the frost that came in late season. So some of the trees or flowers may have been traumatized here. So don't forget about the plants and trees who also experience trauma. And choosing, perhaps someone's choosing pirating or Akashic review or tapping into the world to be out It's like to tap into the world to get into their inner shaman. And if the mother is in lack or being weak or is nuts, or does the nut fall far from the tree, here is the question to be asked. Or what? So it's literally the mother. It doesn't have to be a mother. It could be a grandmother, an aunt, a boss. But if the Empress is reversed here and in lack, and we're not talking about someone who's sick or ill, but if she's in lack and playing the victim card of being abusive or being neglective, if that mother is in lack and weak or perceived as nuts or literally going nuts because she's losing her mind, does the nut fall far from the tree or what? Or someone needs a heart transplant here or radiation treatment or is finally released and out of the woods from that treatment. So after death here or near-death experience, or just dead tired of trying to complete the cycle, or a dark night of the soul. Post-war, the twins in charge of their world, triumphing over the war within, the truth of the crown that needed to be cut out or handed to them perhaps on a silver platter. The book of Job then came up right here. I don't know why, but the book of Job came up, which then is bringing up the Jobby, where the sword was broken. So Joby or Jobby, right? Someone would be calling their job, the Jobby. The book of Job or the Jobby, and however that you may relate to that, where the sword was broken in half, right? Their instrument of defending themselves was cut and they couldn't use it anymore, right? The job where the sword was broken, that your ability to speak your truth was taken away from you, and crosses pinned all over the ceiling here. Again, a mother who could be very religiously paranoid. Sorry about that. I mean, a mother is very religiously paranoid, putting crosses all over your room because you're cursed by the twin, right? So that could be coming up as well. But post-war, choosing the path of truth, and Excalibur, and again coming up as the X and what caliber they are, and there could be some very icy caliber there. With the children coming up here, and beneath the children, the religious factors, and who's the one worried about the children being affected by the other twin, right? Is it the mother? Is it the grandmother? Is it the divine masculine? Who's worried about how it's going to affect their children and their perspective, and that they won't be under their control anymore? Perhaps after being caught in the woods or in the weeds with their pants down, perhaps, and that could be in an Alzheimer's facility as well. People take their clothes off for no reason in the Alzheimer's facility all the time. And that could be a child taking their pants down as well. So again, whoever was caught in the woods, someone who could have been caught having sex or caught getting high or caught with their pants down, recovering in a facility perhaps, or in from out of the cold, in exile, injury, or illness, with the King of Swords upright, meaning business this time, with the Knight of Swords upright cracking the whip. And that came up with one of the signs yesterday, the whip, really like cracking the whip to the kids probably. But cracking the whip, that it's not a good time, don't mess with me now. I'm not in the mood. This is now refusing to budge, move, or work until the truth is accepted or until they realize what their responsibilities are and do them. Like this is the masculine no longer covering for them. This could be a feminine as well, but it's more of that masculine trait. At 952 is the 9 of the Hermit and the 52 of the Queen of Swords. And again, refusing to budge or do it for them until the truth is accepted here. With Pisces or Capricorn reversed, Libra and Gemini, with Libra and Gemini upright, Scorpio reversed, Libra reversed, and Taurus reversed, as well as the King of Swords upright with the Knight of Swords upright, perhaps taking no prisoners here. The King of Swords and Knight of Swords could be the same person, and the Knight of Swords is just the action of the King of Swords. He's standing in his truth, and he will not budge, right? Taking no prisoners here, so they better get cracking. Libra and Earth here, or topless man and woman, or watching porn or a workout online, whipping the female partner into shape when the kids walk in, or about to cut someone's long hair all off, or learning how to cut hair. So this could be someone trying to learn to be a hairstylist in private, or someone's learning to cut hair by cutting all the people in their family's hair off. This also could be giving to Locks for Love as well, like everyone coming in to donate their long hair. But it's so weird too that the hairstylist was coming in, because that came up in the movie I saw last night, where the crazy person was obsessed with his sister, I guess. I didn't watch the end of the movie, but he was obsessed with his sister, I guess, who had died, and he would scalp girls to have, to do weird things with their hair. And again, scalping was a very common thing back in the day, right? Then we always used to watch that on Gilligan's Island, right? Where there'd be totem poles with scalped heads and things like that. So experimenting on family members and perhaps cutting hair can have a wound of being scalped. And my son can attest to that, because I definitely cut him when I was cutting his hair when he was little. Because, children always move all the time. So there may be some wounds around getting their hair cut. Or the story of having, well, for me when I was young, because I cut my sister's hair when I think I was 10 and she was 8, or I was 8 and she was 6. But she asked me to cut her hair, so I did. Little did I know that my father never wanted her hair cut because she had beautiful blonde long hair like his mother. And so when my mother found out, she started laughing hysterical, because normally my dad was protecting me from her because she was the one with a bad temper. But this time my dad was going to get me, and my mom knew it. So she was laughing hysterical because my dad was going to be pissed off at me for a change. So I literally hid in my closet for 3 hours till my dad got home, and he did pull me out of the closet, threw me on the bed, and slapped me for cutting my sister's hair, which she asked me to do. I was so proud of the job I did too. I'm sure it was all uneven at the bottom. My mom had to recut her hair to even it out. But my mother thought it was hysterical. She had a great laugh out of that. So again, there's trauma for me, because when I cut my sister's hair, I got punished for it, even though she asked me to do that for her. So again, getting in big trouble, or women lining up to have Adonis cut their hair, or again, Locks of Love coming up perhaps. The Knight of Swords is not taking any crap anymore for the lazy ones around them, or cracking the whip with females and their behavior. That it's not okay to dump on them. At 10:03, which is the Wheel of Fortune, or Libra energy again, and the 3 of Taurus energy. It's 3:33 on the clock. So there's that 369 again. And this clock is 108:30, which is the Magician, the Dance, and the Union. Magician embodiment. And then I turn the page and it's 10:04, message received. As we have the green environment here in number 44, and beneath it healthcare and healthcare environment, and the 71 of co-creation, and withholding help perhaps, or withholding time, money, and effort, or just dealing with withholding taxes, or saving for a new life and playing hardball this time. Competing, this could be masculine energy too, of always competing and fighting, right? Because that's what they were raised to do, even in their sleep. Sharing or settling out, and now being charitable in separation, or disappointed, or heartbreak here, or perhaps a small procedure. Reaping rewards of rest for heart stress, so finally someone being happy that they get to rest because they now have an excuse, which they never really need an excuse, but because of heart stress, they were let off the hook. Or the Knight of Pentacles, looking forward, but going back to the farm to help the harvest before heading on a spiritual journey, or before divorcing or breaking a contract. Or the Knight of Pentacles may have Taurus in their chart. Perhaps is retiring, or leaving an establishment or religion behind, and the Knight of Pentacles reaping rewards of the Divine Feminine's heart, or the twin flame, presenting the truth to the Knight of Pentacles reversed, who's refusing to listen, or being stubborn or resistant, unwilling to offer help or friendship, requiring a green environment for their health, or co-creating a higher love here. So there could be withholding. This could be too, like I was just seeing a masculine, like because they're so sure of their powers that they're going to trump God, right? Trump source energy or creator. And they are going to not move and not do anything until they are able to magnetize the feminine to come to them. All right, so this is control and ego, where they think it's just the law of attraction and the law of resonance, but in them wanting to have the control over that, they're actually blocking themselves. So withholding until they can magnetize the other to them so that they don't have to let go of their pride, right, and come forward, but not realizing by trying to control the universe that they are blocking themselves, and that can go both ways. With the King of Swords reversed here and the Queen of Pentacles upright working, with the Queen of Cups reversed and the Queen of Wands reversed, in a breakup or no love loss here between the two queens, or between the Queen of Cups and Queen of Wands and the King of Swords reversed with the Queen of Pentacles, or the Queen of Cups and Queen of Wands may be upset with the King of Swords reversed and the Queen of Pentacles may be breaking up, and maybe they're two daughters. And then we have the Queen of Cups in a separate section, a different deck here, upright, who may be Virgo with Cancer in their chart, which is interesting because that's my makeup. I'm Virgo with Cancer rising. But the Queen of Cups may be holding back an announcement or judgment, or perhaps stuck detoxing the devil's workshop, right? The idle hands. This also could be detoxing sexual abuse or slave labor, having someone else's agenda forced upon you, or detoxing frustration to try to regain balancing or just regain your balance again, right? Get back to the daily grind and keeping your balls up in the air. Standing up to others, or clearing the grounds, with the Queen of Wands perhaps not looking away this time, post-war, in a losing battle with the Fool, who's now free to leap away from the Emperor reversed, or loss of control, with the Page of Wands reversed, which can be his inner child or his actual child or pet here. So either the Emperor reversed is that Page of Wands reversed, or is getting away from the Page of Wands, maybe getting away from a controlling father, or the Fool is getting away from the Emperor reversed, or the Page of Wands reversed. So it could be a father and child team who are very much like each other, or getting away from that type of relationship between you and your father, that kind of energy. The recent past here is the Starseed upright, that fresh new start, perhaps with a big download to the crown. In a divorce or spiritually, with the Queen of Pentacles reversed, ending pain or in a painful ending, perhaps with a lover or affections of a Gemini or twin at work, with Star, healer, or dreamer, or one with dreams or healing, or Aquarius and Sagittarius patient here. Or again, the Star could be a Sagittarius, or they could just be a patient angel. And or there could be a higher love here with the Knight of Swords and the Page of Swords, which those can be a lot of different kinds of messages also to air sign children. They also could be messaging or advertising for someone, or stepping up their delivery or willingness to talk or message. With the King of Pentacles reversed, recovering from the Nine of Swords, suffering in silence, or perhaps a sister, or dealing with stress, not being able to sleep at night, while the Star, the healer, or Aquarius, bird takes off for the stars, and the Six of Swords, is in need of peace here, or perhaps needing to travel, but there's no peace where they are now. But we have Gemini, Aquarius, and Sag all upright here. However, the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles are reversed, perhaps with pain, lover, or work, or stardom, or reputation and patience between them. And the Knight of Swords and Page of Swords may be kids or messages here, and the foundation of the Four of Pentacles upright, which is now the Divine Masculine's heart in the Batcave upright, and the King of Pentacles reversed there, perhaps slaving and keeping to themselves, of the inequity of getting attention and leading the way to the Knight of Wands upright, which can be the one who always comes in and saves the day. Or perhaps the journeyman's finally getting relief, right? Someone who can actually do what they do so that they can get vacation or take time off or retire. And this is a 1035, which is the wheel and the wounded warrior. So again, the journeyman could be getting relief from the Knight of Wands to cover them, and they're very similar energies there. And then the central energy of the Page of Pentacles, upright, who may be the good student or the intern or researcher, perhaps with an opportunity or an invitation or a message to the Ten of Pentacles, family, business, community, or legacy, of justice or court or Libra rejection, or the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Swords upright versus the Queen of Cups reversed with the Magician and the High Priestess, which are those alternative leaders. And that could be the Magician with his assistant as well. Maybe you're going to see Cirque du Soleil or a magic show. But maybe someone's being punished too. They don't get to see the show because they were bad. This could be someone in court as well. And it could be a rejection in court with this couple, or it can be a child who's in court for being spoiled and entitled. Maybe they did something wrong. So it could be the court of their own home, or there could be literal court. But I'm getting the Supreme Justice. I don't know if some kind of Supreme Court decision came down, but that's just coming up right now. Some kind of message to society about some kind of upholding whatever decision was made in the Supreme Court. I'll have to check that out. So the Magician and the High Priest is upright here, but the Page of Cups is reversed, and that can be a baby just crying their butts off, or this can be an adult who's crying like a baby. But this Page of Cups reverse is being seen as that joint, the articulation, the weakest link between justice and wealth and the powerful manifester and their advisor, perhaps after a sudden event, epiphany, or sexual exchange, or the need to be on all the time, and get the job done. Or here, to be on, right? When you're in the healthcare field, especially places like emergency, you have to be on when you go to work. You're taking care of life or death situations as soon as you get in. So you can't just not rest and not be well rested and you can go out whenever you want. You have to be on every day at the job. And then again, the same energy is coming up here with 9/11. And again, the call center 9/11. I mean, this 9/11 from 2001 can be coming up here as well for those of you who had a lot of trauma around that to clear, but it's also coming up to the call center. Can you imagine the call center on that day for 911 and how traumatized they were to answer those calls? So the 911 House of Horrors I'm getting, resisting sudden change with a lot of fear and the unknown factor, right? Because fear is just the unknown. With the Tower reversed and the Page of Pentacles, perhaps a student of trauma wanting to make a difference after having experienced something awful themselves and wanting to help others who need someone who understands them. So again, that we all go through these traumatic experiences so then we can perhaps help somebody else out so that they don't have to do the same thing that we did. So it's just like in school too, right? Our curriculum is very different than it used to be. Not that any of the curriculum is correct, right? Because we're being taught a lot of templating that isn't correct for us, that we need to be sovereign and not be told what to do. But just the information that we're taught now is a collective learning, right? So it's like passing on the knowledge that we've learned, whether it's a lie or not is a whole different story. But what's the information that somebody would have gotten 100 years ago is very different than what we would get now as a child, right? Because we're passing on collective information. So a student of trauma wanting to make a difference here after experiencing something awful and wanting to help others. And then the Page of Pentacles, they're green, they're a page. It's like being new at work and you can't just jump right in because you don't know what to do. Like, how will I answer them? Even the seasoned people may have times where they don't know what to say to the person. They need help of a superior or someone else who's been on the job as long as they have or longer. So the Page of Pentacles is someone new at manifesting whatever they're manifesting. So they may resist when sudden changes come and may not feel like they're ready to perform yet. Learning from the ground up to understand all the facets of the game or the plan. So again, it was like, me coming on YouTube. I was a very private person. I never thought I would be on YouTube. Very shy my whole childhood. And I always wanted to be able to read cards, but I was too shy to be able to do that kind of thing when I was young. So it's that same type of energy of, you can't learn to do it. Some things you just have to jump right in and learn as you go and not be afraid to make mistakes or make a fool of yourself. And it's the same thing in love. The block here is the Knight of Wands upright, and that's definitely the energy of the first responders. They have to have a slow burn because they can't get riled easily. They can't attach to the victims, and they must stay strong and calm to lead the community. This can be in business, government, healthcare, or people's lives and jobs are on the line. And the Chariot reversed that broke down, right, in a car accident, or broke up, or broke in, right, as some kind of theft, or someone wants to rape someone or kill someone. You have to have someone who's going to be calm in these situations. You can't have them emoting with you. So again, in all of these traumatic situations, and even a breakthrough with the call not answered, this can be a breakthrough of water. Maybe there's a big leak somewhere, right? With a call not answered, right? What are you going to do if you freak out, or something that was answered too late? An uncomfortable feeling to be rejected or overlooked, right? When you're being traumatized or victimized and someone's on the phone telling you they're going to be there to rescue you, and you never get rescued, and then carrying that wound over perhaps to another incarnation, right? Where you don't trust, because those people who told you they were going to rescue you never did. They had intentions to, but they never got there. So this may be bringing stuff up for you guys. So to be rejected or overlooked, or to be jealous or pretend to care about everyone, because people in the healthcare industry have to pretend to care about everyone. It's their job to be polite and to get the job done. So they're not always going to be sincere. They're always going to, they're supposed to always be polite and show compassion, even if it's not someone they love. It could be someone who's a jerk, but they still have to show compassion to that person. So when no one can actively care honestly about everyone all at the same time. So we have these boundaries we have to create, which turns into professionalism, because there has to be a lack of involvement so that you can stay detached and be able to perform your duties. So healing and recovering those out in the cold, being sick, ill, or with no place to go. At 1051 is the Wheel of Fortune and the King of Swords, and the King of Wands upright, being affectionate with those in pain, or the betrayal of going through a painful ending here. With the Hierophant reversed, this could be a narcissistic old man as well, or Taurus reversed Queen of Wands, who may be all about themselves, right, because they get a lot of attention, or using their sexuality. And this can be both ways. Like, a beautiful woman isn't just a beautiful face. She may be average looking with the face, but she may have that perfect body that men want. So they'll even if they don't think she's that great looking, they'll take her because the body's perfect. So there's the wound around that as well, because that's not love, right? So the Queen of Wands is maybe all about themselves here, using their sexuality to control the devil, or to detox Taurus reverse, Capricorn reverse, or Cancer upright, or the full moon coming in now on the 16th, I think it is, where there's a great need for patience, especially in the ER, when everyone is freaking out and fighting, right? The full moon or Friday nights are when everyone gets hurt or gets victimized because everyone loses their temper. They feel the pressure of the full moon. So the Knight of Swords, perhaps with harsh words, or maybe quick with their delivery, like 9/11, knowing when to keep to oneself and stay calm in a situation. With the Queen of Swords upright, composed and articulate, with being neutral. Perhaps with those who may be grieving a loss or regret, or feeling guilt or shame, or again, any kind of embarrassing situation too. Perhaps you hurt yourself, or you fell, while you're carrying stuff at work, so maybe you feel embarrassed, or maybe dumping a load, someone got caught, having sex, or emotional attachments here, and getting clear after being confused. Perhaps choosing one path and then going with it instead of trying to figure out all the options at once. Just stick with one thing, put your blinders on, and just focus on one thing at a time. Okay, so when people get overwhelmed, it's either time to meditate, take a nap, or if you're able to literally see that you're just confusing yourself because you're looking at too many things at the same time and you're in fear over the unknown, to just look at one thing and take one step at a time. And I used to do that with my kids all the time. If they got overwhelmed about something, stay here today and let's just say, what is the one thing you can do right now? And let's let go of everything else. And we'll do that now. Okay? And then it might take a little bit of time to come down off that anxiety energy, but it definitely helps. So with Capricorn reversed, you're detoxing sadness of the King of Swords upright, or feeling the King of Swords, ignoring them, finding a way out to the passion, the inspiration, that holy grail that you're dreaming of, the Six of Cups, inner children connection, and standing up for each other, having each other's back. The detoxing and a need of peace, exposing all, or sunshine with kids and pets or vacations in Leo here. The Queen of Wands upright with Hermit, shedding light on the release of energy vampiring, or lying, cheating, and stealing, right? People taking others' energy by draining them with the things they say or do, or the things they take from them. And the people may not even realize they're being taken from, because they want to be the good person to sacrifice, when we're not supposed to be sacrificing. We're supposed to be loving ourselves first. By loving yourself first and doing what you love to do, you become the best version of you. And then you are able naturally to give to everybody else. And you're giving to everyone from within, connecting to the collective whole instead of only certain people in the collective. So again, energy vampiring coming up here. Lying, cheating, and stealing. Risky business. Running away from, what do you do at work when you think you can't lose your job, but your boss is asking you to do something that's illegal or immoral, or something that you don't agree with. And running away from overwhelm, or purging, dumping a load, or sneaking out, or being pushed to your emotional limit. And I definitely understand that, because I used to get told to do all sorts of things that I wasn't trained to do at work. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I did make a fool of myself a couple times. And it's very embarrassing, because I should have said, no, I'm not trained to do that. And if you want me to do that kind of stuff, you have to train me first. So, you have to be willing to stand up for yourself and not run away from the overwhelm or the vulnerability. But there may be purging, dumping a load, sweating it out, and feeling pushed to the emotional limit. At 1102, which is Justice and the High Priestess, of being able to keep secrets, right? At work, you can't disclose patient information. And then in a disconnect, or being at a distance here, at 1103, which is Justice and the Empress, with the one you're living with, right? So maybe you don't like, or you're not getting along with the person you're living with, or perhaps at a distance from the one you love and want to be with stubbornness, refusing to move or work, knowing and pretending not to know, dumping multiple loads, or no longer a fantasy to release with the Ace of Wands reversed and feeling abused. And again, this could be people afraid to leave relationships because their partner has secrets on them. And this may not only be personal secrets, but secrets about confidentialities that have been broken with the spouse who is into the work stuff that they shouldn't have been into. That could be coming up. So there's a lot of wounds coming up here today. To release with 9/11, the Ace of Wands reversed and feeling abused or forced, but the Six of Wands upright, putting it all out there, perhaps for others to touch. So again, this could be someone traumatized by their partner, always flirting with everybody else, or worried about your children flirting with everybody, that they don't understand what they're asking to come into their field. Or the price of getting attention and a good reputation, because everybody wants a piece of you, or everyone wants you to love them. Having to fend off unwanted advances or attention, or unwanted communities or contracts, or more projects to do that you don't want, right? And then maybe someone did you a favor, and you were, oh, thank you so much, thinking there was no expectations behind it. And then all of a sudden they come back and say, you owe me a favor, but you're too busy to do that favor. But now you've been roped in because you took their favor. Okay? So again, who are you dealing with? And do you want to be around people who expect something from you for giving love, as opposed to people who take responsibility for their own feelings, right? They don't give things that they expect something in return for. And of course, in relationships, if you're not getting in return what you should, then you need to be strong enough to walk away from that if they're not willing to be in an equitable relationship with you. But again, it's different for everybody, because everyone has their own wants and needs, and they have different perspectives. So you have to be willing to realize that you have to play with what's in front of you, which I'm guilty of that too, of saying, oh no, they'll grow and they'll change and all that kind of stuff. And we all do that instead of playing with what's going on at the present moment. Who is this person with me now at this present moment? Is this person everyone I've always wanted? Are they abusing you? Are they neglecting you? Are they taking you for granted? So again, it can go both ways, right? So it's the price of inattention, but also the price of getting attention, right? So if you're the man or you're the woman and you get all that attention because you're so good looking or you're really good at what you do, well, everyone's going to want a piece of you, just like the rock star, right? And then what happens to a rock star? They fall into addiction because they can't handle it. And they're not, they're sleeping around. I'm not saying all rock stars do that, but a lot of them end up doing drugs or sleeping around, and then they can get diseases or they can ruin their family, and, it leads to all sorts of problems for them. Because the real fact is, not only are they abusing these people who they're sleeping with, because they're young girls who really don't want to be hurt and don't know what they're doing because they're too young and immature to understand. And the rock stars are young and stupid too. But it's that by behaving like that, you're not loving yourself, right? Which we've all done to ourselves. You're not respecting your temple, your soul, your spirit, because your body is your suit that you're just temporarily in. But what you do to that body affects your soul. How you love yourself or how you don't love yourself. And allow others' negative energies in, right? If you're just a rock star sleeping with, 6 people one night when you're drunk and wasted, who did you just sleep with? Because you're sleeping with all of their energy lines, all of their family ancestry, all of that stuff gets in. But no one ever teaches you that, right? So the price of attention or good reputation, having to fend off unwanted attention, contracts, commitments, others' expectations of you, being patient with the Knight of Swords upright, the Queen of Swords upright, knowing and keeping to themselves, and now grieving, having taken advantage of all of your options, and now wanting only one. A kid in a candy store who's actually not a kid, and then eating it all up and then getting really sick. So there you parallel the child in the candy store with the rock star who's now sick and diseased because they wanted it all. But what they wanted wasn't actually at all. It was just abuse to themselves. So even food poisoning here, right? So even a kid in a candy store can end up eating a piece of candy that's tainted and get poisoned. Well, same thing with a rock star who's drunk and wasted. They don't know who they're sleeping with. So anything can happen, but in the moment of your throes, you don't really care. So when you're in the midst of this, you don't care. The responsibility that goes along with bliss. If you get a whole lot of attention and adoration, there will be expectations and retaliation for the love and kindness that wasn't returned. Only insincere professionalism in order to make money or so that they can keep their job. So that's why it's so important to love what you do, because then it's really not insincere, because you really love showing people how they can help themselves perhaps. And again, this was coming up at 11:11 to 11:12, so that perfect alignment. And soon here's the Page of Pentacles reversed. And the energy of being vulnerable and shy or rejected. Again, the baby crying and no one coming to rescue them, or the adult crying or being called a crybaby, and the wounded warrior or victim then overworked, perhaps not working out, perhaps at home at night and crying like a baby in a losing battle of sunshine and rays and kids and Leos and egos, and the full exposure to how to get self-satisfaction. Perhaps burdened by Atlas and the map of the world, and the Queen of Pentacles reversed with the Six of Cups bond of the twin flames. And what about the Pisces, Sag reversed, and the Cancer and Leo upright here at 11:15, which is Justice and the Devil, with the twin flames seeing themselves as the Ace of Pentacles reversed. Perhaps they're saving for a new life, or withholding, or playing ball, or playing hardball, or trying to magnetize that relationship without having to do any of the work. The heated exchange and the awakening, or the arrogance of the ego. The fool free from illusions, or freed by dumping multiple loads or emotional attachments, with the King of Cups now being ignored. Perhaps offering his cup to Libra reversed, or perhaps at a bad time. Or now the King of Cups offers love after they didn't before, and the Page of Wands reversed and Page of Pentacles upright may be unable to trust them now. Because why would this time be different than the other 3 times that you ignored them? Or that the King of Cups ignored them when they were trying to love them? With Pisces and or Capricorn reversed, Aries upright, Libra reversed here, perhaps preparing for a new life, and attraction comes up here, and getting to know each other. You deserve love. And then around the twins, or how they're seen, is karma reversed, which is also the judgment card reversed, which is a need to swallow the pride, the need to heed the call, the need to make a decision or make some kind of judgment call. Because if you're in that position of karma reversed, it's not that you need to judge, but if you didn't make a decision, it's because your soul is nagging you to change a path because you're uncomfortable in yourself. You need to change your perspective in order to feel upright again. The Queen of Swords with the Aquarius is coming together with friends, while the King of Wands is upright, implementing a plan on how to invest perhaps in this group or friends, or in coming together, or feeling this Three of Cups group or coming together just wants their money, or the only reason that they're being nice to them is because they want something. And again, that can be kids with parents as well, and vice versa. Or the Queen of Swords may be talking about a party or a get-together, and the King of Wands here, or Swords. No, it's the Queen of Swords with the King of Wands. And the King of Wands, he's just sitting there kind of dazing off into space, realizing that he's going to be the one who ends up footing the bill, whether that's your husband, your brother, your father, whoever it is. But a need to stand up in a wake-up call here and make a decision or stand up for yourself, or the need to swallow your pride at the same time. So the challenge being the Eight of Swords reversed, the release from anxiety, from prison, and holding on like Scrooge. As the Emperor reversed, perhaps out of control, abusing their power, or out of control, losing their power. Perhaps they're ill or injured and they can't help that. Or perhaps they're stepping down from control to retire. Or perhaps they're saving to retire for self-satisfaction, and there's healing and leadership, but even more so, rebirth, effort, and a new beginning. As the Queen of Cups is upright, and a big love at work, uncomfortable with the Ten of Cups reversed, unhappiness, and the world upside down, or the Divine Feminine, the 5D, without emotional fulfillment. Perhaps in a break with the past, in need of strength, good health, at home or in union, overworking to be seen as charitable, right, or likable. The Page of Wands reversed and the Ace of Wands reversed, which is frustrations or that energy all over the place, a lack of arousal, a lack of understanding or being able to conceive, a lack of humor, of thinking things are funny, just not being inspired, or perhaps being abused as well. Only ending up frustrated or resentful and without sleep, because if you're giving too much and nobody appreciates that, then you're just going to become frustrated and resentful, and perhaps lose sleep, and maybe dealing with an awakening and rising and coming out at 11:28, which is justice and alignment, and then the 28 of the twin flames, or choosing a new path. Uncomfortable at home, or overwhelmed or overworked, as the Page of Wands reversed is uninspired and or abused, or just their energy is all over the place. The Divine Feminine's heart is reversed here, coming out of the E-Tower, but the Divine Masculine's heart still in the Batcave, withholding judgment for a fresh new start with the Page of Pentacles, perhaps manifesting something new, with the challenge being the Knight of Wands, perhaps being rejected, even though the Knight of Wands is coming up as upright here. There may be rejection around this, or defensiveness, right? Playing the victim here. Then the Knight of Wands maybe rejecting the other, or being released, detoxing uncomfortable emotions at home or in union, or perhaps working too hard or settling out with the Page of Wands reversed and the Ace of Wands reversed, and frustrations here. The Divine Feminine's heart may be opening up here to come out for a brand new start and a leap of faith, perhaps a big download to the crown with the Divine Masculine's heart. The Masculine's heart and the Feminine's heart are sitting right next to each other in this read, side by side. As the Page of Pentacles, or there's an invitation to detox, challenged by the Knight of Wands, upright, the need to rescue, and the withholding of rejection here, vulnerability, entitledness. And again, this could be withholding the parts of you that you think people won't like, so you aren't being your real self, because you know nobody could like that part of you, because nobody likes those kind of people, as opposed to being your authentic self at all times, which needs to happen for someone to truly love you, right? So withholding, rejection, vulnerability, entitledness, judgment, to release discomfort of union, home, overworking to settle out with the Page of Wands reversed, and then the the abuse or lack of arousal here as well. The Taming of the Shrew came up as the movie last night on the feed. And then it was 12:21. It's already 1:39:49 here, so. All right, let's just do a quick couple oracles and then I'm gonna let you go. I just want to do an energy card because I still have a bunch of reads for you guys to do, so. What is the energy following this read, please? And then the dice for 6 of June and Gemini, or the lovers and the twins, along with Sagittarius and the benevolence of Sagittarius, or expansion of Sagittarius, that wanderlust, and then the communication of Gemini and Virgo and Mercury. All right, so what is the energy, our takeaway? This literally hopped up like that, just like that. There we go, action. There's the two Mr. and Mrs. Ed coming together, the two extra dimensionals to meet the shaman in the Tree of Life. The 17. There's only one other card coming out. Nope, two more cards coming out. The bottom of the deck is the Sun. Let me just show you that too. So we have the Sun here. So that could be vacation, Leo, ego, exposing all, just extreme happiness and energy. Okay, so this is the underlying energy of getting some rest and fun in the sun after perhaps a trip or somebody left the house and moved out. And we have 2 and 1 here too. The 1 and 2 of the masculine and the feminine. The feminine packing her bags and leaving, and the masculine taking a vacation or enjoying their time alone in the sun. And then there's the merging of the polarities coming together of the masculine and the feminine and having your dreams come true. Okay, and then the 2 cards that came out here is the first chakra Archangel Michael as the wounded warrior, though, with the 35, and the deceit here around the Knight of Wands, but this is like reversed because the Knight of Wands is upright in this read. So this deception is, they're letting go of this deception. But also to let go of rescuing, right? They have to teach people how to do it for themselves, not rescue them, not to be the hero all the time, right? Which is what they love to be, because they got to be the good guy. But then realizing that people turn on you, right? Because you're not actually loving them, you're loving rescuing them. But they see it as you loving them, that kind of energy. So here's the root chakra. You need a strong foundation. The wounded warrior needs to surrender. The wounded warrior is upright, though, in this read. So again, this is about building a strong foundation, the need to let go and rebuild. And this one may be covering for this one. This is like Atlas and Hercules. So Hercules is coming in to stand in for Atlas to give him a break. That's what that energy is. And again, this could be the masculine and the feminine. This also could be the merging of partners to help each other out at work. But to have your dreams come true, perhaps finally be able to get a break. And I'm going to give you an animal deck card too, just real quickly. The show is over. I don't know the lyrics. Getting like the curtains drawing. The show is over. I'm getting like that. I'm getting like a horror house, you know, with the red curtains kind of pulled back, like the different little stalls where people can, you know, get ready. This could be a peekaboo place too. I don't know if somebody was dealing with working there. Maybe somebody's working in a sexual way there, but also could be working there, but not in a sexual way there as well. But no one could know that they were working there. Maybe it was a second job. Or maybe someone's literally stripping to make a lot of money. But I'm getting someone going to see a show. Maybe someone's acting. This could be someone doing cross-dressing as well, and doing a show cross-dressing. Maybe a guy who likes to dress up and do performances that way. And again, someone who may not in their normal life want anyone to know. That could be coming up here. We have renewal with the 3 little raccoons. They have masks on and they're so cute. So renewal with the 20. And the raccoon. It's time to get clarity about your life purpose and make changes so that you're on the path most divinely suited for you. So forgive what has been without judgment and fearlessly embrace what's to come. So maybe there's things that you didn't judge that you should have because it wasn't for your highest good, but you didn't want to be mean to somebody or something like that. And that can go both ways. And then we have the elephant of justice, which is also Libra energy. And for me, this would be Aquarius energy. And the elephant says fair decisions will be made after all the evidence is reviewed impartially. Have compassion for others and try to see all sides of a disagreement, right? So it's not to blame others, but see how we can all learn from this and then perhaps write corrections. And in research, this is what we learn, is that it's okay to make mistakes, but you have to document everything about the mistake and write a plan on how that's not going to happen again. And maybe you want to do that for yourself, right? If you made a mistake and you feel bad or you feel stupid, well, write down, well, what's your plan next time for what you are going to do or not going to do next time to avoid making that same mistake again. And notice we have the 20 and the 8 here, which is the 28 of the twin flames. And also there could be someone who's single and someone with their kids coming together here, the 20 and the 8. Okay? And again, and the 8, 17 is also an 8. Okay? The bottom of this deck is the Tree of Winter, and the trees definitely came up, and the birdies. This is the rose-breasted grosbeak. And it says that sadness is a part of life, but you don't have to endure it alone. You may need a little time to heal, but once you work your way through the emotions, you'll be stronger than before. And again, they're two different, it looks like two different breeds of birds. But again, loving each other. They could be the same breed, but you know, just having someone there to give you a hug, which definitely I could understand that. It's hard when you're the single parent and, you know, you're always there for your kids. And you don't want to put your burdens on your kids, and nor, you know, should you have to. But there's certain things they can understand and relate to, but there's certain things they're just not going to relate to. So they can't really make you feel better about it, where you just need another adult to be there for you. And when you're a twin flame, that's, you know, a difficult thing to find. So that's where you learn to really connect with your higher self, so that you always know that you're not alone. And again, like I said many times before, this journey is all about finding your sovereignty in self-happiness, because if you can be happy by yourself, you can be happy in any situation. Okay. So there, my siblings are having a little conversation there. Sorry about that. Okay. So I have to get to, next read's going to be Leo and then Virgo. And so remember your water, your rest, your joy, your nature, or do what you want to do. And yeah, be good to yourselves. Have an amazing day, and rise and be loved, you guys. Remember to breathe, and I'll see you soon. See you later, alligator. Bye.